Alright, fellow hunters, time to look at the final episode of the day, which is Like a Virgin. Over Oregon, a couple is in a plane caught in a storm. The girlfriend, Penny Desertine, looks out the window and notices something outside. Penny looks at her boyfriend Stan and tells him there's something out there. Stan doesn't believe Penny and tells her to lean back and try to relax. Penny pushes away. Stan leans back and closes her eyes. It's quiet for a few moments, and then the plane is ripped open. As Stan is ripped out from the cockpit by something. As the plane goes down, Penny screams in horror. The scene shifts to Bobby's panic room, where Castiel emerges after checking on a comatose Sam. Castiel approaches Dean, who is waiting outside the room, and tells Dean that Sam's soul is in place. Dean takes a quick look at Sam and turns to Castiel and asks if Sam is ever going to wake up. Castiel responds by telling Dean he is not a human doctor. Dean continues on by asking Castiel to take a guess. Castiel turns to Dean and says, "Okay, probably not." Castiel continues on by saying that he warned Dean not to push Sam's soul back in. Dean tells Castiel that he wasn't about to let Team 1000 soulless Sam walk around and hope he doesn't fire. Castiel walks up to Dean and tells Dean what Sam's soul felt like it had been skinned alive. Dean is surprised to hear this, and Castiel angrily tells Dean if he wanted to kill Sam, he should have done it outright. Then Castiel leaves, leaving Dean to think over his words. While thinking, Dean looks at Sam lying prone in the panic room. Dean heads upstairs and shares a drink with Bobby. They talk about Sam's situation downstairs, and Bobby mentions how much Sam has been through and that Sam always on about his back. Dean mentions that Sam has never been through this. Then Dean notices the case file on Bobby's desk and asks about it. Bobby mentions that the couple went up in a plane and crashed. The pilot was found 17 miles away, torn to pieces, but the girl wasn't found. As they are about to further discuss it, Dean hears his name called and turns around to see Sam. Sam, very happy to see his brother, gives Dean a big hug, and then sees Bobby and hugs him too. Then Sam asks how Bobby is alive. Sam mentions how he felt and saw Lucifer snap his neck. Bobby derails that Sam probably doesn't remember anything after jumping into Lucifer's cage. Bobby tells him that Castiel brought him back. Sam's surprised and glad to hear that Castiel is alive and well. Dean asks how Sam is feeling, and Sam answers that he is hungry. As Sam eats in Bobby's kitchen, Dean asks Sam what he remembers. Sam answers by saying that the last thing was jumping into the cage and then waking up in Bobby's panic room. Bobby is shocked to hear that Sam doesn't remember trying to kill him. He starts to mention this, but it's cut off by Dean. Sam asks how long he was gone, and Dean answers about a year and a half. Sam is shocked by this and comments how he doesn't remember anything from hell. Sam continues on and asks how he got back. Dean tells Sam he made a deal with death and that everything is okay. Bobby comments on how this is neat and clean, and this wasn't getting cut off by Dean. Sam asks Dean if there's anything else that he should know. After a pause, Dean answers no and offers Sam another beer. Later on, Dean brings Bobby a beer while he was working. Dean talks to Bobby about Sam, and Bobby tells Dean how he's not comfortable with this. Bobby mentions how he still has misgivings about Sam due to how soulless Sam tried to kill him 10 days ago. Dean mentions how he's not going to look down on this gift, is practically going to send Death a fruit basket. Bobby says they can tell Sam the truth. Dean sometimes saying that they can't tell Sam the truth, they risk breaking the wall that Death created to protect Sam. Bobby warns Dean that Sam will eventually find out about this, but agrees not to tell Sam. He also says it won't be pretty when Sam finds out and returns to fixing the car. Bobby and Dean prepare to head out on the case, and leaving Sam behind to rest. Although Sam is not asleep and insists on coming along as well, Dean tries to talk him out of it, but Sam doesn't budge. So comfortable with Sam, Bobby decides Doug to come and tells them to go without him, due to some work that's still needed to be done. This raises Sam suspicious that things aren't as cut and dried as he's being told. When Sam asks about it, he responds by saying that Bobby's just in a bad mood. And the Apollo, heading for Portland, Oregon, second firm said two of the girls have vanished and no connection between them and the plane crash victims. Sam asked Dean if he kept his promise to Sam to go live in Apple Pie Life with Lisa and Ben. Sam was convinced that Dean is actually the same as before. Dean told Sam that he did go live with them for a year, but didn't work out and got pulled back into hunting. Sam and Dean first visit Penny's sister, who was willing to talk to any more people. Sam tells he understands and talks her into letting them in so they can investigate the case further. The sister lets him in, and Dean walks in, smiling at the fact that Sam has still his caring mojo. The sister takes them to Penny's room and talks about Penny. She mentions that Penny only went on the plane because of Stan. At the motel, Sam is doing research on the missing girls. He figures that the first two girls did church work, but Penny wasn't a Christian. Then Dean reveals he stole Penny's diary from her room. Sam's becoming angry and was shocked by this. Dean mentions how he loves that Sam was shocked by this. Sam catches his ass why he wouldn't be. Dean begins to read the diary, effectively creeping Sam out. From this, figure out that Penny was a virgin. At a local high school, Melissa is partying with her friends, saying goodbye. She is walking across campus on her own when she hears weird noises. On edge, she moves faster. When she looks up at the night sky and sees something descend upon her, she makes a run for it. She's walking across campus on her own when she hears weird noises. On edge, she moves faster. When she looks at the night sky and sees something descend upon her and runs for it, much to her luck, she trips and falls. The next day, Sam and Dean visit Melissa in the hospital, and they ask her to describe what happened. Melissa tells Sam and Dean that what attacked her looked like a giant bat, and then she passed out. When she woke up, it was gone, and she had marking on her shoulders when it grabbed her. Melissa then shows them where it scratched her. Melissa also mentions that her golden promise ring was stolen. Dean asks her if she really was a virgin, and Melissa angrily admits that the boy she had sex with didn't count. As they walk in the hospital towards the Apollo, Dean makes a joke. Sam comments on how he's gone for a year and came back, but Dean's jokes still aren't funny. Back at the motel, Sam has did a roadblock of research online while trying to figure out who likes virgins and gold. Cecil takes it back to World of Warcraft fan sites. Dean is confused and Sam tells Dean it's dragons and it can't be possible. Dean says it might be and calls Bobby for a second opinion. Bobby's cooking in his kitchen when the phone rings. When he picks up, Dean asks Bobby what does he know about dragons. Bobby insists they aren't real and he will make some inquiries. He also goes to Dean on how the line for Sam is going, but Dean cuts him off and hangs up. While waiting for Bobby's phone call, Sam and Dean look over their files. Sam looks through John's journal and finds that it was said, yeah. Sam looks through Dean's journal as a deja vu moment sees the Skinwalker page. Sam has seen they took on a Skinwalker recently, and Dean admits that they haven't. He tries to bring in their temperature too. And come here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just feeling a little tired. I don't know why. It's like a week about. So I was trying for Bobby's call. While waiting for Bobby's phone call, Sam and Dean look over their files. Sam looks at John's journal as a deja vu moment when he sees the Skinwalker page. Sam assumes they took on Skinwalker recently, and Dean lies and insists that they haven't. Although this doesn't convince Sam, the Bobby calls. They first see into an expert in medieval studies, Dr. Visiak. The scene shifts to an underground tunnel where the captured women are locked up in cages. One of the dragons arrives, shifting to human form, and brings in a new captured girl. The new girl struggles for release, and the dragon breaks her arm and tosses her in with the others. The dragon closes the door and, using generated heat from his hand, wields the door shut. Dean arrives at Dr. Visiak's place and rings the doorbell. She opens the door and tries to get rid of him, but lets Dean at the mention of Bobby's name. Once in the house, Dr. Visiak tells Dean to kick Bobby in the groin next time Dean sees him, which confuses Dean, and Dr. Visiak suggests Dean ask Bobby about it. Dean asks Dr. Visiak about the dragons, and she answers it has been around 700 years since they were last seen. Dr. Visiak continues on by saying that the only way to kill a dragon is to use a blade forged with dragon's blood, but there is only a few left. Looking for Dean, Dr. Visiak reveals that she had acquired one and it's in the basement. They head down to the basement, where Dean sees the sword embedded in stone. Dean attempts to pull the sword out, but is unable to. Then Dean gets another idea, but warns Dr. Visiak she won't like it. At the motel, Sam calls Bobby for help in finding the dragon's lair. Since there are no caves, Bobby suggests Sam think of alternatives, and hits Sam. Sewers, since dragons like darkened areas. Sam thanks Bobby, and asks Bobby if he is okay. Bobby lies, so informs Dean he won't tell Sam, and says nothing is wrong in the last year and a half that involves Sam, and hangs up. This leaves Sam further curious, so he attempts to summon Castiel. To his left, Castiel appears, telling Sam how good it is to see him, and attempts to hug Sam, but he sits down. Sam tells Castiel he would hug Castiel, but it would be awkward. Sam goes on to talk about how it's been a crazy year, and how he just talked to Bobby about it. Castiel is unaware that Dean and Bobby didn't tell Sam he was soulless, and Sam catches on that he wasn't told everything. Castiel then asks Sam what it's like to have his soul back, and Sam's surprised by this, but pleads along to give her information. Sam asks Castiel to fill in the blanks for him. Dean's laying down the final preparations and wants to stone away from the sword, use explosives. Dr. Visiak is concerned for the sword's safety, and Dean reassures her that he knows what he is doing. She gives in due to have no other choice. Dean sets the charge, closes the door, and backs away. When ready, Dean hits the detonator button, and explosions heard from the other room. Now safe, they enter back in the room and see the stone broken to pieces. And the sword's still there. Dean pulls the sword out though, but it's discovered that he had broken it. No. Oh, sorry. And the sword's still there. Dean pulls the sword out though, but it's discovered that he had broken it. Dr. Visiak looks at the remains of the sword in horror. Dean returns Dr. Visiak to the motel room, and Dean shows Sam what's left of the blade. Sam tells Dean that when he found Bobby's help, the location of Dragon's Lair is which sewers. As Dean prepares to leave, he notices him hesitating, but Sam tells Dean it's nothing. In the sewers, they begin to wonder if they are lost, until they find a pile of gold, signaling they are nearing the Dragon's Lair. Sam soon finds a chamber with a table that has candles and an old book on it. Sam grabs the book, and then the boys hear women screaming and run to investigate. Sam and Dean find all the missing women trapped in cages, and Sam tries to free them. The women warn Sam and Dean that the dragon will be back any moment. Then the dragon appears in human form and attacks. Sam gets stunned, and Dean kills the dragon with the sword. The dragon knocks the blade out of Dean's hand, but is stopped by the dragon. Sam cuts the dragon too. Sorry, let me try again. In the sewers, they begin to wonder if they are lost, until they find a pile of gold, sailing there near their dragon's lair. Samson finds a chamber with a table that has candles and an old book on it. So he grabs the book, and then the boys hear women screaming and run to investigate. Sam and Dean find all the missing women trapped in cages, and Sam tries to free them. The women warn Sam and Dean that the dragon will be back any moment. Then the dragon appears in human form and attacks. Sam gets stunned, and Dean kills the dragon with a sword. The dragon knocks the blade out of Dean's hand, but is stopped by the dragon. Sam lends a helping hand and throws the dragon while Dean goes for the blade. The second dragon arrives and attacks Dean. Sam goes for the sword and manages to grab it and stabs the second dragon. Seeing the death of his brother, the first dragon flees. After the case is finished, they head back to Bobby's place, and Dean is looking at the gold they got for the dragon's lair. Sam comments that Dean should just roll in it. Excuse me. Dean asserts that he rarely has wealth, but Sam gets serious and apologizes to Dean. At first, Dean tries to hide it. After the first case is finished, they head back to Bobby's place, and Dean is looking at the gold they got for the dragon's lair. So he comes to Dean just rolling it. Dean asserts that he really has wealth. Dean resorts that he really has wealth. Sam gets serious and apologizes to Dean. At first, Dean tries to hide it, and then asks who told Sam. Sam tells Dean that Castiel told him, and Dean comments on how Cass is such a child. Sam angrily points out that Dean should have told him. Sam continues on by saying that he feels responsible for what he did when he was soulless, and he should make amends. Dean points out that it wasn't Sam, but Sam rebuts by saying it was a part of him. Sam asks Dean what he did. Dean tells Sam it could be dangerous due to death, putting a wall in Sam's head between him and things he doesn't remember. But Sam said that Dean would do the same thing if he were in Sam's shoes. Then Bobby calls Sam and Dean in. He tells the boys he has been translating the journal that Sam found in the Dragon Slayer, and tells them it's very old. The pages are made from human skin. And Bobby tells them the book describes a place of blood and bone, filled with the souls of all the monsters slain. The dragon that got away meets up with more of his kind, telling them what happened. The other dragon reassures him that they have enough virgins to meet their need. They move toward the van full of young virgin women and grab one out and drag her to a nearby cave. Bobby explains the book is talking about purgatory, and it's like how two men don't open a door to it. Although there was one page with specific instructions missing from the book. The dragon brings the virgin to the edge of the chasm and reads the inscription from the page ripped from the book. Balancing night below The dragon brings the virgin to the edge of the chasm and reads the inscription from the page ripped from the book. Fires ignite below, and the dragon cuts his arm and lets the blood drip down. The dragon brings the virgin to the edge of the chasm, and reads the inscription of the page ripped from the book. Fires ignite below, and the dragon cuts his arm and lets the blood drip down. Then the dragon grabs the girl and tosses her head first in the chasm and finishes the spell. Bobby tells Sam and Dean that the book explains the ritual that can summon anything from purgatory, but he doesn't know what it is exactly. While Bobby can get down from the book is the name, Mother of All. The dragons watch the girl rise from the chasm and floats down, with the rise glowing with power. The dragons greet her, and she answers they have much to do, and it's time to get started. Ooh boy. Okay. So let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. The CW's official summary for this episode does not cite Jim Beaver as a guest star. This is the first new Supernatural episode during Insane 2020. This is the first new Supernatural episode airing January 22nd. This first episode airing January 2011. This was the first episode to air in February. It was originally supposed to be aired on January 28th, but was postponed for February 4th. After CW executives decided to push it back in order to air repeats of the Vampire Diaries and Nikita. Excuse me. This was also the first episode to air in 2011. It was originally supposed to be aired on January 28th, but was postponed February 4th. After CW executives decided to push it back in order to repeats of the Vampire Diaries and Nikita, which were picked up against American Idol, this garnering in the viewers. The opening of this episode very closely remembers the opening series premiere of Batman the Animated Series of Luther Wings, and then a passenger in an aircraft asked the pilot if they saw the outside window that looked like a very large bat. It is likely in regards to this, but the Batman character is later never mentioned. Very part of the never-ending story are both referenced in this episode. The building that serves as Dr. Visick's home is the historic P.T. Rogers Mansion, which is known as Generosa, which is also known as Gabriola. Located in Vancouver's West End. It's said to be The building that serves as Dr. Visick's home is the historic B.T. Rogers Mansion, also known as Gabriola, located in Vancouver's West End. It is said to be haunted. The stained glass window seen behind Dean and Sam as ascend the stairs is titled Three Graces. J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth for Lord of the Rings is also referenced in this episode. Dr. Visick tells Dee that the prized sword in her house is the sword of Brunswick. According to Czech legendaries, according to Czech legend, the native Porcelain of Prague set a pilgrimage world and wanted acquired a magic sword that was capable of killing one of its own. According to legend, the Knight of Brunswick of Prague set on a pilgrimage and while on it, acquired a magic sword that was capable of killing its own. One day, he appeared upon a battle wearing a lion's skin and a four-handed breast. Post purchasing in Prague, where Statue of Brunswick had been erected. The video game World of Warcraft is mentioned when Sam searches for fire, flying claws, virgins, and gold. On the internet here. He claimed World of Warcraft fan sites popped up. However, Dragons of World of Warcraft is. The video game World of Warcraft is mentioned briefly with some sources for Fireflame Claws virgins and gold on the internet when included World of Warcraft fan sites popped up. However, Dragons of World of Warcraft have no interest in virgins or gold. However, Dragons of World of Warcraft have no interest in virgins or gold. However, it's more likely that whoever wrote this initial entry was the Forest World of. However, it's more likely that whoever wrote this initial entry ironically missed the joke that World of Warcraft uses gold as currency as opposed to typically based versions. At first, Sam and Dean assume that Eve is the only mother of dragons, and after Dragon Thrones. At first, Sam and Dean assume that Eve is the only mother of dragons, and Eve of the Game of Thrones character Daenerys Targaryen is sometimes called. The episode Like a Virgin. The episode titled Like a Virgin is also the name of a song by Madonna, her second album in Name. In Bullfish. The episode titled Like a Virgin is also the name of a song by Madonna from her second album of the same name. The episode titled Like a Virgin is also the name of a song by Madonna from her second album with the same name. It was released on November 6, 1984. The official music video can be found here. He speculates that the mother rejected Melissa because she was already dating He speculates the monster rejected Melissa because she was already dehymenated. In reality, the hymen does not work as an indicator of virginity. This is just like a detailed terminology as he has referred himself as rehymenated numerous times. This is just like the use of terminology is referred to himself as rehymenated. In reality, the hymen is not working to care virginity. This is just like the use of terminology is referred to themselves as rehymenated. In season 4's monster movie, he believes the castle's resurrection of him restored Dean's virginity. Yeah. So far, I don't want to apologize for how long it took me to make this video. I'm just a little bit tired out from work, I guess. So yeah. So so yeah. But anyway, I think this episode is pretty interesting and yeah. Hey, at least Sam was working cases with his soul back, so that's good. So yay. So for all I give, like a virgin, 4 on Paulus out of 5. So overall, I give like a virgin. I give it 4 Impalas out of 5. When we tune in more as we to the next episode, Unforgiven. So until then, carry on, my wayward sons and daughters.